Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm the Novice Railway Modeller. We're in the process of building Sanddale Model Railway, and this week I'm making the final adjustments to the baseboard, which is the entry into the south side of the fiddle yard. So the three jobs for this week are to fit the point motors, all 5 of them. Secondly is to power the track, and thirdly is to fit the bus wires and give it all a test. So join me on the journey. So the first job of the day is to glue these tracks down, and as you can see I've already pre-prepared that with my glue of choice, which is Cobalt. So I'll just pull these tracks down and then let it set overnight. So now it's next morning. Let's take these weights off that have been on top of the tracks overnight, and let's see how the tracks are. So you can start to see that there's some white residue from the Cobalt glue that's not fully set. And that's because it's been cold overnight and the glue hasn't fully gone off, so that will be okay today. You can see here a little bit closer the white residue across the track. So I've just turned these boards over after gluing on the points last night, and as you'll see in the previous clip, some of the Coppedex is still white, so it looks as though it's not fully dried. Which is a shame, but anyway, I think it's good enough. Anyway, I've turned the board over and I found there's no frog wire underneath, and then I found this as I've turned it over on the floor. So obviously the frog wire has become detached from the metal wire that's contained within the frog of the point. So again, another problem that I've had with these flipping frog wires. Thing is, I've glued that point down now, so back again, going back over my work. Very frustrating. So I'm going to find out what's happened underneath this point. So I'll try and get this up, but it's going to be difficult. Maybe not. Quick look. Well, the wire is showing. I don't know if you can make that out. There's another breakage. I'm going to have to solder that back on. At least I've got some wire here to solder onto. Okay, so I've now soldered the wire, the frog wire, back on, the green wire. I've still got a bit of a bulb of solder. Don't know if you can pick that out there. I've still got a bulb of solder, but it's back on, so let's feed this back in. Fingers crossed. So red and black wires first, through the middle. And this hole's got a little bit blocked with the glue. Should be good enough. So those are the red and black. Now very gently with the green frog wire. Very gently. This is the second one that I've had that's come off, frustratingly. There's the red and blacks. So show the green frog wire, and it does. Right, join back up into the rail joiners. In she goes. and that is back in. And as the Copydex is still tacky, actually, that should stick, fingers crossed. Right, that's that little repair done, much quicker than I thought. Right, I'm about to fit my first motor, point motor. I'm going to use these motors. I fancied using them for a while. I like the fact that they come from a company in Yorkshire, which is where I'm based. And secondly, I like the fact that these are fully guaranteed for life. Not guaranteed against all the wear and tear that might happen over thousands of point movements. But if anything else goes wrong with them, then they're guaranteed. So yes, they're expensive, but most point motors are. But I'm going to give these a go. So I've got the motor. It comes with a sticky pad. Comes with a number of different screws, and it comes with the arm. I think they call it the fulcrum. So I've got my instructions, so let's give it a go. So the first point is to assemble the motor, is to insert the fulcrum bar into the sides. So this is the fulcrum bar. It says it doesn't matter which way around you do it, whether this part is at the top or whether it's at the bottom. They said they usually do it to the bottom, so I'll follow their guidelines. So number 2, now add the throw wire, which is this. So add the throw wire, passing it upwards through the centre hole of the fulcrum bar and inserting the bent end of the wire into the smaller screw top hole at the end of the throw arm. So the hole that's in the centre is that one, and insert the bent end into the wire into the smallest top hole. So that's the smallest top hole there. Secure it in place with the washer head screw provided. Washer head screw. Now which one's that one? Looks like that one. So that must go like this, and then these must go. And then my screwdriver has got the magnetic end, so that's really useful for tiny little screws like this. So I guess this goes in there. I'll screw that on. So that locks the arm into place. Add the pre-cut self-adhesive foam pad to the top of the motor. Well, that's this. So that's going to go like that. So I shall peel this side off for now. Stick this on into position. Excuse my head if I'm coming into camera shot. Great. So that's now on. Now we're ready to proceed with installation. Okay, so what I'm going to do is prepare all 5 points first before I go to the boards. So I'll be back in a minute. So there we go, that's all 5 points prepared, and now they're ready to install. Okay, so I've got all my tools that I need to put the point motor in place. I've got my instructions still. I've got a Sharpie pen so I can mark the arm. I've got the point motor, of course, and I've got my screwdriver and 4 screws that came with it, and I've got my Dremel to cut the actuating arm. I do have a Dremel. You'll see from previous videos that I was cutting track with track cutters with not a great result, and everybody says just use a Dremel. So I did have a Dremel. I have practiced it before on some spare track, so I'm going to use this today to cut the actuating arm. Okay, so here we go. So this arm is already pre-centered, so I don't have to mess around centering it. and of course when I put the point in, I took the spring out of the point, so that's naturally falling in a central position too. So it says the first job is to put the arm into the hole of the point, which I'm doing now, and then put that in position. I'm just going to feel that it's in the right direction, which it is, and I know it's pretty central. So what I'm going to do is go underneath the board and mark the arm with a Sharpie pen at the point where it pokes through the hole of the point. So I've done that, and you can see whereabouts that is. So I'm going to cut that now with the Dremel. Now that'll be hot, so I'm not going to touch that for a little while, just let that cool down. Okay, so the next job is to mark where I'm going to put the pilot screws. So I'm just putting now everything's moving too much. Just going to get a pencil, something with a thinner point to go through. I'll try again. So there are the 4 marks. I'm going to drill that now with a 1.5mm drill. Okay, it's now back the next morning, and I've gone back over the YouTube videos to look at how other people have installed these Cobalt motors, and I've also been in touch with DCC Concepts. The thing that was confusing me was this arm here was pre-centered, and I got in my head that you might need to deactivate the centering, where in reality is decentering is already automatically turned off, but it's just that it comes pre-centered to start with to allow you to fit the point motor in the right place. So that was good. I've actually used my Hornby Select basic controller to program it, and it's programmed, and you can see now it's actually throwing the point left and right. Which is brilliant. So, happy days. So I'm just going to fix this in position now. Screw it in. Which is easier said than done, like everything else when it comes to modelling. Get a better screwdriver. That's the screws in, first one in position. What I'm going to do is tidy up the rest of the wires first before I start to install the remaining 4 other point motors. Hi, it's mid-March here in the UK, and it's 10 degrees outside, but it's a beautiful blue sky. So when you're outside it is quite cool and you need a jumper on. However, in the loft it's really warm, so I'm in here today with t-shirts. So you can really see the difference when it's warm outside and you're getting sun on your roof. It really warms up the loft. So some extremes of the cold that we've had over winter, but now we're just moving into spring, and with a bright blue sunshine day, which is quite unusual here in the UK, we don't get a lot of them, then it makes the loft quite warm. So you can clearly see the challenges that you potentially have in summer when it does get really hot. Too hot probably for being able to up here and do modelling. So you'll see from the video that I took first thing yesterday morning that the copy decks that I'd put underneath these tracks was still white, where this morning it's gone clear, and you wouldn't notice it, I don't think, unless you look very closely. So the point motor is now fitted underneath, which is great. And as I said, I looked overnight at other YouTube videos and instructions from DCC Concepts, thanks to their direct message, and so I'm happy with what I've got. Now obviously the board is turned over, so I'm going to show you how the point does throw. Show you the point throwing from above. So yeah, I'm happy with that. It works. I'm going to try and fit the other 5 now. Right, so now I'm going to fit the second point motor, and these 2 are going to go in this direction. Like so. Now that's different to the pointing in a different direction to the first one that I did, but it doesn't matter with these, I'm told, and I've read, because it can be changed, the polarity, either way. So it makes it easier for fitting them when you have a tight space with 2 sets of points very close to each other. So I'm going to do that. So the first ones, I've already put the 4 holes with my vice drill. So I'm going to take the sticker off the bottom. Excuse the noise from the outside, it's the gardeners. Not in my garden, but at a garden at the back. And they like their power tools, don't they? So they'll be making noises. That's in position. Looks good. Push it down. Get the screws. Screwdriver. Okay, so that's the second one in. I'll do the rest, but off camera. I've just come back on and fitted the 3rd point, but as I was fitting these screws in, the screw head just sheared off and left the bottom part of the screw inside, which obviously I couldn't get out. It was on the far side of this, so again, another frustrating thing of a modeler, is it? Or is it just happening to me as a novice beginner? I'd be interested to know. Okay, this 3rd point motor that I was telling you I had a problem where the screw sheared off, I've actually put it the wrong way around. The reason why it's the wrong way around is this is where the batten edge is underneath here. So when I turn it over, I can't put the baseboard in the right position. So I'm going to have to take this off and actually put it the other way around, which I should have done in the first place. So again, another schoolboy error, but we live and learn. What have I done here? Oh, now look what I've done. Now I'm in trouble. What you can see, I've made a mistake, and in putting the board the other way around, I've bent the throw bar arm. So try and straighten that up. So I took the points away and straightened the wire with a pair of pliers, fitted back the motor, and it was good to go again. Bizarrely, in the refitting this point, the screw head for the second time has just sheared off. Unusual. So these points are finally now fixed into position, and you will see actually I've numbered them all. So that's number 61. Sorry, that's number 60. That's number 61. Behind that 62, and then further on we have 63 and 64. So I'm going to turn the board over now and then just make sure everything's still okay at the other side. Okay, so we've hit another obstacle. This point, which I'd earmarked as point 63, won't allow me to program it at all. I do have a 6th point motor which I've programmed to 65, and it works, but this one won't work on 63. I've actually tried to program it to different numbers and it just won't respond. So I'm just wondering whether this point is dead. I might message DCC Concepts and see what they think, but I've gone through and programmed every point the same way, every point motor the same way. This one doesn't seem to want to respond. Maybe it's dead. Right, on to the next steps of finishing off this board which has got the points on. Remember from my last clip that I actually had a problem with this point and it was dead on arrival. Anyway, that's now boxed up and ready to send back to DC Concepts. They're quite happy to receive it back. And luckily I bought 6 in a pack, so I had a spare one, and that's now gone on there, and that works on number 63 as it is now. So my plan for today is to actually start to prepare the bus wires. So on this fiddle yard there will be 2 bus wires, if not 3 actually. So the first bus wire will be for the accessories, and that will be there for the points, and that will run all the way around the other side where the controller is going to go. I'll give you an update on the controller in a second. So yeah, 1 bus wire for that, and I've got this wire here, 3202, red and black, and I'll start to put that into place for the accessories, and that will go from board to board. So I will join each board, because I want each board to be able to come out if it needs to do, and therefore I will join with some connectors on each board, at the end of each board, so they can come out. So I've got those chock block type connectors, and the other thing I've got here is the cable clips that I can stick to the board that should keep the cables nice and tidy. So yeah, so I've got that in place, and that's what I'm going to do first. The second bus wire will be for the rails, which will go to the power, and I might split into 2 sections. Certainly for the main track I have a bus wire for the outside, and maybe a bus wire for the inside. Let me know what you think. Seems to be quite good practice. I do fancy going block detection at the same time, so potentially makes it more complicated as a beginner, but I'm kind of thinking let's do everything right at the start, but that will give me challenges, I know. Anyway, back to controller. So in April last year I went to Key Model World live in Birmingham. I think some of you may have been, and Bachmann had a stand there where they were presenting a preview of their new Kinesis controller, and I thought that was great. I thought it looked great in the sense that it gave me the opportunity to do have your software on your computer, so that you can use that to control your trains. I thought it was great that it had a wireless controller as well, so rather than be tethered with a wire, that you could actually roam around your layout while still controlling the trains. So I thought that was good too, and I thought, oh, obviously it's coming from Bachmann, so it's obviously got to be good as well at the same time. So said it was due out at the Q4, so I pre-ordered it from TMC when it became live on pre-order. Anyway, end of Q4, nothing happened. They then put a notification on their website to say it's going to be live in December, and December came and went. Nothing in January. When I look back on the website in January, it said arriving soon in January. It's now the 20th of March, and if you look at the website today, it still says arriving soon. So you know, it's something that I want for my layout is a good controller. I'm currently operating with a basic Hornby Select, which is, I know, very basic, but I got it just to excuse me, just to get me into the hobby and to practice DCC. But it has significant limitations, such as 2-digit loco addressing, and you can find that you're crossing over with a number. You only need a small number of locomotives to find that you're crossing over. Anything over 10, and then you're in trouble. So I think I've already got somewhere in the region of about 38 locos that I bought, or sets. So yeah, so my stock is building up, and a 2-digit loco address on a basic Hornby controller is not really that good. Anyway, so I'm undecided yet whether to go back to the power cab, which is well regarded. I see from DCC Concepts they've got this Aegis system that goes with the power cab, which allows you to have some level of remoteness, which I quite like. I saw the video on it last night, and Richard Brighton puts a very good, is very knowledgeable and puts the benefits across really well, and that really did attract me. But it is 650 quid for the power cab Aegis system. So again, it's just about future proofing it. I mean, this, you know, number of locos that I'm going to have, the size of the layout, I feel as though it's probably better to future proof it now rather than regret it in another 12 or 18 months time and wish I'd bought a bigger one. Some people have recommended the Roco Z21, and that does look good, but it looks as though it could be more for people that are at the next stage of where I am in my model railway development compared to where they are. Anyway, so I'm just still deliberating that. I'd be interested in any thoughts and comments that you guys have got as well about controllers. So the bus wire for the accessories is now in place here, and what I'm going to do actually is use these block connectors. There are 10 on here. I've got 5 accessories, i.e. 5-point motors, that I want to wire up to the accessory bus, and to try and keep things neat rather than having to solder them with tack strips, as I've tried that on my test track and to various results, but I think these look much easier and neater. So what I could do is actually cut this in half, to just use 5 of them on red and black, and then connect the red and the blacks up to this connector from a bus point of view, going in and going back out, and keep the wiring pretty neat and tidy, and have no need for soldering because I can crimp the connectors into there. Again, be interested to see what you think. So I've just connected all the point motors and the power up to them to the accessory bus. So the 5, the accessory bus running round the outside, and I've put this beautiful little terminal block in here, and I've taken all the red wires from the point motors and neatly put them together here, and then all the black ones coming into this side. I know these are blue, but you can't get black ferrules. And what I've done, I've just tested them with my basic Hornby Select controller, and all of them work, which is remarkable. So that's the first time I've done that. You always worry that it looks a bit like spaghetti, but actually this batten, this is going to go upside down. This board will go upside down, and as a batten will run underneath, so they will go under the batten. They're slightly tighter than I really wanted them. And then these cables here are for the track, which will be on the track bus, which I'll put into place. But from a point motor point of view, they're all set up and ready to roll. So yeah, happy days. Just turn this board over, and just a reminder that there is an accessory bus for the point motors, and there's also a power bus to power the tracks, and those are all now connected up to my trusty little Hornby Select. They're all coming through on the track at the moment, on the track port, sorry, at the moment. And so what I'd like to do now is just test this trusty old shunter to see if it will work. So it's programmed up, ready to go, and we should follow the outside of the track first, so let's give that a go. And it works. Fantastic. Let's throw point 60 the other way. Sorry, let's throw point 64 the other way. That's not very good. That's not coming all the way across. What I just worked out is that 64.64 wasn't throwing all the way across, and that's because the spacer bar that the rod goes through was right to the bottom and catching on the baseboard. So I've just moved that much further down, and it's throwing all the way left and all the way right. So let's try that again. And indeed, that does go now on both the top line and the next line down. So now let's change point 61, this point, and use these two lines here. So 61 select, so this should come along here and on line, this is line 1, line 2 we've tested, let's test line 3, put the shunter back on. Perfect. Let's change lines at point 63. Let's try line 4. Perfect. So let's change point 60 and see if we can make the shunter go down line 5 and line 6. So point 60, select, throw the point, that's not gone as far as I would like, so let me just check that one. Again, the space bar is touching the baseboard, so that looks better. Let's try it again the other way. Perfect. Okay, so now let's this should now come down into line 5. And it does, and if we change 0.62, select, throw, not as far over again as I would like, so we'll just adjust the space bar. That looks great. So line 6. Perfect. I'm really pleased that that now works, and there's a lot of effort and learning gone into that, but I'm really delighted with it. So this brings to the conclusion this part of the video before we move on to the next stage, which will be laying the fiddle yard on all the straight track down towards the end. But the point board has now been completed. I've added 2 more tracks here and here, as you can see, and they're wired up, and so they're all ready to go. With my trials and tribulations, I don't edit everything, I don't edit anything out, so you can see where I go wrong, which is why I need your support and help. Well, there we go, there's the video for this week. That's me completing this first baseboard with the 5-point motors and the powering the track and adding the bus wires. As you saw, it was all tested, which works neatly, and that's a significant step forward for me. Interesting thing to talk about actually is cost. So the 5-point turnouts from Pico and the 5-point motors from DC Concepts, plus the various connectors, I think probably are costing me somewhere in the region of about 230 British pounds. And when you think I've actually got 4 of these boards to do at each corner, 2 on the north side, 2 on the south side, that's somewhere getting close to £900, towards £1,000 with all the extra bits and pieces, just for the 4 corners. And then I've got there's 6 lanes of track to put down from each corner to corner. So it's a significant investment, this hobby, and yeah, all hobbies cost money, but you know, cost is a significant factor, and obviously the bigger the layout, the more it's going to cost you. Oh, that was my choice, and so there we go. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and do please comment. I do read all your comments, and they are invaluable to me as a novice railway modeller in helping me learn and develop. So please do pass on your comments, because I have another 3 of these boards to do, and if you've got some great suggestions that I can do things better, then I'm definitely going to take it on board.